Jack, when you came to Wisconsin, as a defensive assistant, you already had the coordinator experience. Is this something that you kind of imagined could happen?
Yeah, I did for sure. Just conversation with Coach Vic and Coach Tress kind of coming into it. That was always, a little bit of the goal is trusting the process and believing in what, Coach Vic's vision for the defense and the program was here. So that was always hope that it would work out. And obviously, God willing it did. And there's still a lot of work to do. But yeah, that was really the vision kind of going into it a little bit. So.
Having been here and specifically working with a lot of safeties in your role with the Nichols in the last couple of years, how much does that help in terms of kind of hitting the ground running in terms of now coaching this position?
Yeah, I think definitely from a relationship standpoint, it's definitely helped. There's a lot of trust and belief that's been built in the room. So there's a lot of familiarity with each other, and then just some of the defensive stuff and just the techniques and the scheme and things like that. There's things that are going to be carryover from what we've done with any of the safety coaches, really, because that's what we believe in defensively. So there's been a good amount of carryover, and it's been really good for us so far. So
I'm guessing you don't have a lot of experience bringing guys up from the D3 level to playing the Big Ten.
Yeah.
When you look at Matt's film, what just gives you the confidence that he can be a player here for you guys when I'm sure you're kind of taking a leap of faith that this is going to translate? Yeah,
he plays really fast. He plays really confident. He's a great communicator. You get on the phone with him. He's a super bright kid with what we believe is a super bright future, and he comes from a football background. Just his family and being around football, up in Neenah and things like that. So as far as his film and then just intangibly everything he brings to the table, that was enough for us to I wouldn't even say make a leap of faith. He's a really good player that we're going to look to develop and make better and help sharpen his game. But we got a lot of belief in him.
How do you envision using Austin, given his versatility?
Yeah.
Is it just whatever the matchup is? Do you want him to specifically focus on being in the slot?
Yeah, it's been a talking point. Obviously we had Hunter graduate out and he's going to go play in the Senior Bowl next week and stuff like that. And you got to be able to replace production. So there's always going to be conversations about where to play Austin. And I think it's still a moving point as we keep developing and progressing in the defense and where he ends up. The good thing is he's played a lot of downs at a lot of positions. I know in 23 he played a lot more boundary safety, and in 24, just by the way the roster was, he played more nickel. So he gives us the versatility to kind of move him around, and we'll see as we work through the offseason, the weight room, and the spring ball, kind of where he ends up.
Coach, when you lose a guy like Hunter, just how important and impactful is it to have a guy like Preston back this year to kind of help lead the room as well? Yeah,
it's great. It's great. They got their different ways to lead, but having Preston back in the leadership and he played, 765, I was looking the other day, 765 snaps, something like that. So Preston's played a lot of ball, whether it's special teams, whether it's defense. He's been through a lot of adversity, a lot of those moments. So being able to have that experience and be able to share that to other guys in the room, I think is huge, because he's been through the adversity of, a Big Ten schedule, which is, obviously extremely difficult.
How are they different as leaders? You say they have different ways for leading.
Yeah, I think, Hunter's definitely a little bit more loose and, likes to have fun and things like that. I think Preston's definitely going to get in there. He's going to be to his business. Now, they're both about their business, but they got different ways to lead a little bit more. I think Hunter was definitely very comfortable in the verbal, type of role and the vocal type of leadership. And Preston hasn't been that much of as much of a vocal leader, but I know he does a lot of things behind the scenes in the locker room. And he's been a guy who's been here through a lot of things. So, they'll have their different ways and different styles. But at the end of the day, Preston's got to be authentic to himself. It's not leadership if he's not going to be Preston Zachman. So.
Jack, this safety position, both with coaches and with the players, has kind of seen a lot of turnover the last few years. This is the fourth safeties coach in the last 4 years. How important is it to kind of have continuity with you now stepping into the role after a couple of external hires the last few years?
Yeah, I think it's huge. Stability is huge for these kids, especially in a world that's constantly changing with the portal and coaches in and out. But it's it's the nature of college football too. But yeah, the stability of what we do in that room is going to be important, and keeping language universal and keeping the same coaching points that we've had in the past and keeping them the same if we can keep them the same. And if we got to change them, we got to change them. But being able to teach in a progression that's understandable for them, I think, is going to be the biggest thing for them as far as continuity, because coaches are coaches, players are players, people come and go. But as long as we're pushing this thing in the direction of Coach Fickle and Coach Trussell, I think we'll be in a good direction in that room.
What did you see in Matthew Trainer when you looked at the film? Why you thought it was a good fit?
Yeah, Matt was really productive kid at Richmond, CA freshman of the year, and we got a lot of good feedback from his coaches at Richmond and just some guys in that league. I was in that league in the CA at Rhode Island, and we saw a guy that was a young guy that was hungry, that wanted to take a step to this level, and obviously his play on the field was super impressive. He's an aggressive guy that wants to get hit downhill and wants to tackle and wants to be physical in everything he does, and he's able to play the ball too as well. So. We thought he brought some good versatility, and we'll kind of see where he fits in the puzzle defensively.
Sure, if you've gotten to this point yet, but will there be any big differences that guys will have to adjust to between you and Coach Grinch, or do you kind of see it as a pretty seamless transition from what you guys were doing last year?
We haven't got to that point yet. I think Coach and I were really aligned in a lot of things that we believed in. We had some crossover from some people that we worked with as well. So I think it'll be a pretty seamless transition. I think at the end of the day, I'm going to be authentic to who I've been in the past. Obviously, there's going to be things I prefer, but I think they were being taught a lot of great things in that room, and we'll carry that on and see where everything else goes in that room.
You've heard of good.
I know you're on the other side of the ball, but since Jeff Grimes got here, what has kind of stood out to you, and what he wants to?
To be honest, I've been pretty busy with defense and recruiting and onboarding guys. I haven't seen too much from Coach. Just past him in the hallway. Seems like an awesome guy and great person to be around, and I think it'll be really, really good for us going forward. So,
We've heard about kind of an emphasis throughout this portal process in the offseason so far, getting bigger on the defensive front, kind of changing what's happening up there. Is there any big changes that you guys anticipate on the back end?
No, I don't think there's any big changes. There's got to be a growth mindset no matter what you do defensively, whether you're first in the country in pass defense or last in the country pass defense. I think there's got to be an emphasis of turnovers and ball disruption. I mean, you watch all these playoff games. I think every NFL playoff game, the team that's won the turnover margin has also won the game. So there's got to be a huge emphasis of us hunting the ball and being purposeful when we tackle the ball and interceptions and things like that. So I think those are some things, some emphasis and some focuses going forward. But no, as far as the style of play, I think the style of play will be very similar to what we've done. So.
There were a couple of freshmen who came in, could potentially play corner, could potentially play safety. What have you kind of seen from some of those guys in the secondary and where you might see them?
Yeah, those guys, there was their first day of school today, so we're just trying to get them to class on time. No, I think I'm joking with you, but those freshmen are a lot of those kids have versatile skill sets. We'll kind of see how they are with Coach Brady. I think the biggest thing for them is hitting the ground running in the weight room, getting to class on time, being super organized the first time away from being from home. But I do think a lot of those guys bring a versatile skill set, whether they end up playing corner, whether they end up playing nickel. I think the best thing is, between Coach Haynes and myself and Coach Tressel, there's a lot of dialogue on, how do we best use our guys in our program to help us win football games. So it'll be good to kind of look at how that looks going forward.
You've been asked about a couple of transfers already. It seems like program-wide there was an emphasis on transfers, regardless of level, that had a lot of experience. What were those conversations like between you guys as coaches about like what you're looking for when you're bringing new guys in? Yeah,
you want to see evidence of them playing football, and I think when they play football and there's production, and then obviously whether you're going to talk to the college coach and talk, it's kind of weird, it is a normal thing to call the colleges now and just check up on guys. A lot of those guys checked out, and there's a lot of positive reviews on those guys. So the emphasis on guys being able to play football, being through adversity, and different things like that. Production was definitely something that was talked about in the office, for sure.
Last year, a role you kind of had hands-on with the nickels. Do you kind of envision that kind of being a similar aspect where the nickels are working a lot more with the safeties? And how did that kind of go about last year, and how is the relationship kind of with those guys?
Yeah, the relationship's good. I think we all kind of met together last year as well. When they need to go separate, they will. We've had some different people on staff and things like that. So we're still working through that, how that's going to look. But no, the nickels are great, and we're still trying to figure out who's going to play nickel and everything like that. So no, the relationship with those guys is good, and we just got to kind of figure out how that balances as far as meetings and then on-field individual and other instruction, when we get time with them.